na kilikali Women's Club kedoba ronga na Radio FBC tole biti na boka ndiya
neza ngo emuri na tambu ena kasi ondo woronga na Radio FBC tole biti ngari biana
neza ngo merelotu yo me botike sawa no koro me ule kutoka imalo wawati sawa tahun ini kuwa dale takvale unara programa na Radio FBC
na Radio FBC nandumo ibiti na bonga ni bieneno.
Good evening, this is FBC News. I'm Jackie Spade. In this bulletin, police reveals increase in robberies. Debate continues in Parliament on 2016 budget. And Fiji again questions Australian and New Zealand's membership of the Pacific Islands Forum Secretariat. The Fiji police force has confirmed an increase in robberies around the country and has assured the nation sex attacks against children and women have decreased. This has been brought to light by Acting Commissioner Brigadier General Sithiven Ngilio in his first media conference as head of the force today. He says these issues need to be addressed immediately.
The Acting Police Commissioner today met with his senior officers and was briefed on various pressing issues that have been headlines in the country. Brigadier General Ngiliho will make visits around the country to identify the actions to be taken to address the increase in robberies. Between October last year and October this year, aggravated robbery increased by 21%, while burglary rose by 32%.
There are teams that are deployed around the country in regards to taking that proactive posture in regards to the likelihood of increased robberies during this time as we go through the festive season.
The new acting police chief promised that they will vigorously pursue perpetrators of attacks against women and children. Police records show that between 2013 and 2014, rape and attempted rape decreased by 21%, a fall of 67 cases. Indecent assault has fallen by 29%, a decrease by 59 cases. Incest has decreased by 75%. However, in cases of child molesting, defilement of girls less than 13 years of age has increased by 60%, a rise of 3 cases, and defilement of girls between 13 to 16 years have risen by 17%, an increase by 24 cases.
Those are cases that hits our heart in there, something that should not happen. Even though it has decreased, it doesn't mean that the Fiji police force will take their foot off the pedal in regards to pursuing these cases. No, we will pursue those cases vigorously and bring those people to justice.
Ngiliho will begin his tour to the West on Thursday in regards to the alleged rape of a 7-year-old girl to inquire about the investigation. This is the first of the many cases that will be pursued.
Well, there are a few more cases that the police is pursuing now. Which involves, unfortunately, much older men. We're looking at people in the 70s and early 80s.
Brigadier General Ngiliho will make public his phone number as well as other senior officers ready to act when they are called. Police allowance issues and close cooperation with the Fiji Corrections Services and the RFMF are other areas that will be looked into. Akosita Talei, FBC News.
Acting Police Commissioner Brigadier General Sithiven Ngilio says he will also consider applying for the Police Commissioner's post when it is advertised. He adds that if government sees it fit that he is capable in the position and producing the outputs, he will consider applying for the post. Finance Minister Ayaz Said Qayyum says debate on the 2016 budget has been skewed by commentary on ethnicity instead of substantive analysis of the 2016 appropriation bill. Said Qayyum gave his right of reply before Parliament began voting. Ritika Pratap reports.
As the guy said to me, are they deliberately doing it or do they don't know?
Government spending has been increasingly directed towards capital works around Fiji. And the finance minister says this is acceptable when looking at our debt levels.
If you borrow to spend on operational costs, then you are having a party. We're not having a party. We are building, Madam Speaker. We are borrowing to build. We are building roads. We are building bridges. We are bringing assets, Madam Speaker, building airports.
Syed Kayum says 35% of the budget is spent on capital projects, but this will be improved in 2016 so that taxpayers get more out of their contribution to government revenue.
Capital investment adds to the productive capacity of the economy, which is evident in the sustained economic growth we've seen in the last 5 years. When you build better roads and bridges, when you get people quickly to markets, when they're able to essentially, Madam Speaker, have greater efficiency in the transportation sector, there's a level of confidence people build. People go into those other areas. The people of Neta City can bring their goods lot quicker to supermarkets. They gain confidence. They want to develop their land, Madam Speaker. They don't understand that.
He's denied that government loans guarantee of $2.5 billion is dangerous since 69% of it relates to the guarantee of FNPF member funds. The finance minister says through prudent use of the operating budget, the government is able to save hundreds of millions of dollars.
Operating revenue over operating expenditure has increased from $27 million in 2006 to $573 million, Madam Speaker. $573 million. Madam Speaker, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because in 2006, the previous government, the operating to capital expenditure mix was 85:15. In other words, 85% of the money they spent was spent on operating it, not building. Building was only 15%. Madam Speaker, now the expenditure mix is 65:35 in 2014. And next year, the mix is 60:40, Madam Speaker. The mix is 60:40.
The 2016 budget, according to Syed Kayum, has been assessed over the last 18 months before being brought to Parliament. Pritika Pratap, FBC News.
About 200 related bills are being individually voted on in Parliament tonight. Adequate trained health personnel are required to deliver quality health service. Speaking in Parliament this morning, Ministry of Health Chone Usumate says an allocation has been put aside to boost this act. With the increase of $11.3 million in the Health Ministry allocation, 150 doctors and 200 nurses will be established next year to cater for health service demand.
$1 million has been set aside for training and development of our medical people, of our medical staff. This is absolutely critical. There will be a strong focus on developing our local medical personnel who wish to specialize. Money is being made available for that in the training programs.
The Ministry of Health was allocated $280 million in the 2016 budget. People in formerly isolated rural areas will now have road access to transport their produce to market, says Minister for Agriculture Inia Seruratu. This comment comes with the new budget's $50 million allocation specifically for the maintenance of rural roads. Seruratu, while supporting the 2016 national budget, says this is important to people who rely on selling agricultural goods. He applauded the allocation given for rural roads. Seruratu says this will be good news for farmers who are the backbone of the agricultural sector.
I want to come up with a bold statement today, Madam Speaker, and this is what I wanted to say to the people of Fiji. If there is a time to be a farmer, it is now. If there is a time for you to be a farmer, it is now. Madam Speaker, agriculture will remain one of the backbones of our economy in terms of supply and the provision of employment to our youths.
The minister adds ordinary Fijians are capable of achieving extraordinary heights. Fiji continues to question Australia and New Zealand's membership of the Pacific Islands Forum Secretariat. Foreign Affairs Minister Ratuinoke Kumbombola highlighted this while speaking in Parliament yesterday. Maggie Boyle with the story.
Fiji's foreign affairs policy of friends to all and enemies to none has been a staple over the years, with a number of new diplomatic ties forged. This has also led to the development of a homegrown international organisation, the Pacific Islands Development Forum, which is set to gain UN accreditation in 2016.
PIDF is expected to be granted observer status in the United Nations General Assembly in 2016. It has already received tacit recognition by the French government with an invitation to its Oceania Summit in Paris on the 26th of this month.
Foreign Affairs Minister Ratswinoke Kumbombola says the aim is to strengthen Fiji's bilateral and multilateral presence in international forums. Closer to home, budgetary allocations aside, the issue for a premier regional organization's membership remains a stick in the mud.
While we continue our principled stand on the issue of membership of Australia and New Zealand in the Pacific Islands Forum, our contribution to the Forum Secretariat is $138,000 in 2016.
Meanwhile, Fiji is only one out of the 8 countries in the world and the first in the Pacific to have secured $67 million from the Green Climate Fund.
This fund will be used through the Asian Development Bank to refurbish the Suva water supply. The water system will be climate-proofed through a number of measures, including strengthening pipes to make them more resilient to flooding, and by providing an alternative source of water for the greater Suva area.
The Foreign Affairs Ministry has been allocated $42.9 million for its operations next year. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
Later in the bulletin, France assures COP21 will go ahead.
मैं नीलगिरी मदर्स क्लब की रोहिणी कुमार हूँ और रेडियो फीजी 2 की मैं बड़ी दीवानी हूँ।
मेरा नाम राम है, मैं लटोका में रहता हूँ और जस्ती करके मैं रेडियो फीजी 2 सुन रहा हूँ।
हाय, मैं हूँ आईना नाववा टाउन से। नाववा में रेडियो फीजी 2 सबकी पसंद।
मेरा नाम अश्विन है, मैं रेगरेकी में टैक्सी का व्यापार करता हूँ और ज़्यादातर हम लोग रेगरेकी में रेडियो फीजी 2 सुनते हैं।
हमारा नाम रोशनी है, मैं तावा टाउन से बात कर रही हूँ। मुझे रेडियो फीजी बहुत पसंद है।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
Welcome back. This is FBC News. The Fijian Teachers Association union election is currently underway at the FTA Hall in Suva's Nolly Street. The election has been running for 2 weeks and today is poll day. Akosita Tale joins us live with more updates.
Good evening, Jackie. Yes, this is the largest union election so far, with 3,277 FTA members eligible to cast their vote in this 2 weeks election. Today is the last day, where polling had started from 4:30 p.m. this afternoon, and this was to enable teachers to attend their polling places after school. This afternoon, 1,282 members are expected to cast their vote. Polling is also expected to run till 7:30 p.m. this evening. 10 full-time positions will be contested, and this includes the president, 2 vice presidents, 1 assistant secretary, 1 treasurer, and 5 committee members. Counting for this election will take place at the Fijian Elections Office from 10 a.m. tomorrow until complete. Jackie.
Thanks so much for that update, Ako. The government of France has confirmed that the COP21 meeting and all other international events in France will continue as planned. This was reiterated by the French ambassador to Fiji, Michel Djokovic, while speaking in Suva at the memorial service for the Paris attacks. Ali Kimbia has more.
A moment of silence speaking at the memorial service, French ambassador to Fiji, Michel Djokovic, gave his assurance to the French community, diplomatic corps, and senior government officials who attended the service.
Paris is wounded, but as our president put it, against terror, France is a nation that knows how to defend itself, how to mobilize its forces, and it will, once again, defeat the terrorists.
Djokovic says they will ensure that all international events scheduled to take place in France will continue.
Will ensure that all its international commitments will happen as planned. In particular, the 4th France-Oceania Summit and the COP21 will take place in Paris with an even reinforced security.
In his statement, Djokovic stated that the essence of Paris and their way of life have been hit, and he is adamant that the French authorities will react strongly to this barbarian act. Ali Kimbia, FBC News.
The U.S. Embassy has brought in a world-renowned speaker, Dr. Avis Jones-DeWeaver, to speak to women on topics relating to empowerment and entrepreneurship. Dr. DeWeaver is a key advocate on women's empowerment issues worldwide on behalf of the U.S. Embassy. Ellen Stolz has the story.
30 female staff from Westpac Bank in Suva met with Dr. De Wever this morning for a session focusing on empowerment of women and entrepreneurship.
If you look at the data around the world, to the degree to which women are empowered and have access to economic opportunity, those countries really grow. So I'm excited to see what's happening here, because I think that if those efforts are supported, then the future for Fiji is going to be completely bright.
Dr. De Wever has served as the keynote speaker to the inaugural President of the United States Young African Leaders Summit, a featured speaker at the World Bank, and a messenger on women's empowerment issues on behalf of the U.S. Embassy. She is impressed with Fiji's development in terms of the amount of women taking up leadership roles.
It makes no sense for any country to leave half of its human capital underdeveloped. So I've really found it to be a very important part of what I do, to, as much as I can, make it my business to go around the world to countries that I know have extremely immense potential.
Fiji is her first stop in the Pacific on her way to other countries, such as Samoa and Tonga. She hopes this short visit will greatly impact women in Fiji and, more broadly, the Pacific. Ellen Stahls, FBC News.
Attorney General Aya Said Qayyum says the Fiji First government is thinking ahead and investing into the future. Speaking at the Kavanangasao Sanatan Dharam School prize giving in Navosa last night, Said Qayyum explained the benefits of VAT reduction. He says education is important and government has made education free up to Form 7 and is also providing scholarships and loans for students to get tertiary education.
People who are sitting over there, who are 4 or 5 years old, most of your parents won't realize, but in about 15 years' time, they'll be teenagers. And they'll want to go to school, they want to go to university, they'll want to have jobs. We are giving them free education because we believe that if Fiji wants to be ahead, we have to think 10, 15 years ahead.
Said Qayyum also acknowledged the teachers for their hard work. Fijians have the opportunity to see a world sneak preview and premiere of the film Moana Rua, The Rising of the Sea, tomorrow. The 56-minute movie about climate change in the Pacific is performed by the Oceania Dance Theatre and Pacifica Voices.
The Oceania dancers have completed a tough performing tour of Europe, taking the Pacific message aboard. The film was made in Norway.
Dance drama production will be able to tell their story more emotively and also, contributing to that. So that's something we at the USB and Oceania Centre are very conscious about, that the arts have a powerful responsibility to really inspire, empower, educate and uplift the community.
The movie expresses how the lives and culture of Pacific Islanders are threatened by climate change. It contains music, dance, singing and images associated with the word paradise.
Because this is research disseminated through the arts, and this is why the Oceania Centre is very prominent in the Pacific, because it values the arts and the traditional ways of knowing. And our Pacific people, it's really about who we are and what's affecting us in climate change.
The University of the South Pacific was the project's main partner in Oceania. The film was funded by European Union, and the sneak preview and world premiere runs tomorrow at Damodar City in Suva. Shriti Prasad, FBC News.
Sports is up next, and Jamie joins you now with the latest.
Vinaka Jackie, and good evening. In sports after the break. Now that its Olympic spot is in the bag, the Fijianas shift focus to the World Series. And Fiji football teams depart for Pacific Cup. This and more coming up.
Yandra! I love listening to Gold FM at Golden Point Resort. Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Hola, my name is General from Recreative. I love listening to Gold FM, only the classic.
I'm Moses from Valeu. I love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
My name is Marita Manako. I'm from Kandavu. I like listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
My name is Filipa from Tavor Town. I love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
The Telecom Fijianas jetted into the country yesterday after blitzing its way to the Oceania Sevens title in New Zealand over the weekend and securing its place at the Rio Olympics next year. The team now turns its focus towards the Women's World Series, which gets underway in Dubai next month. Charlie Ndadakadaka has more.
Only a handful of people turned up at Nandi International Airport yesterday to welcome the Telecom Fijiana side back from New Zealand. The team will now regroup and prepare for the World Series, which will serve as the perfect build-up to the Rio Olympic Games.
I understand that the pitfalls of that are that you can't win everything, and it's about developing now a group of girls to Rio. And the foundations are there from this group. It's about making sure that we keep everyone fit, everyone healthy, and they have the right attitude moving forward, and new girls coming into the squad emulate the rest of the squad.
The Fiji Rugby Union is overwhelmed with the team's achievement and is confident this could be a sign of good things to come.
They've gone through a 2-day tournament, playing 6 games, haven't had any points scored against them, so I think this is a big signal to the world that Fiji women's rugby is alive and kicking, and I think we can use this as a massive springboard to get our Fijiana team to a greater level.
The side has only a couple of weeks to regroup before the opening leg of the Women's World Series in Dubai next month. Talento Takavaka, FBC Sports.
Fiji's 4 representative teams to the Pacific Cup competition departed Fiji this morning for New Zealand. While the teams will be out to claim the top prize, coaches have said they will also use the competition as build-up to the National League next year. We now join Josephine Navula live from Nandi. Josephine, you were at the airport today. How are the Fijian teams looking?
Rewa, along with Nandi, Suva, Mbai and Lautoka flew to Auckland today. These teams know the task in Auckland will be tough, but overall these teams have an edge over other teams taking part. This is one of the reasons the Fijian teams have been oozing with confidence.
The local provincial teams looked all geared up as they headed for the much-anticipated international tournament today. Rewa coach Marika Rondu says the Delta Tigers are determined to put in a strong performance and not just to make up the numbers in the Pacific Cup.
The whole idea is to take a mix of younger players and the current senior players to expose them to quality opponents and prepare them for the hectic season ahead of us.
Rondu adds they have selected the best set of players for the competition.
We have selected the best 18 that can travel, not to just be part of the Pacific Cup. We're going there to compete as well.
Meanwhile, Suva will make changes to its game plan depending on their performance.
The competition itself is very competitive, and New Zealand Stars is a good team, and they got very good guest players.
The Pacific Cup competition starts tomorrow. Josephine Navula, FBC Sports.
The national bowling team is determined to reach its target at the Asia Pacific Championships in New Zealand a week from today. With an aim to secure a spot at the 2016 World Championship, the bowlers have taken inspiration from the national rugby sides. Josephine Navula again with the details.
For the Vodafone Fiji Sevens and Fijiana squad, qualifying for Rio has been a boost to their morale for the upcoming Asia Pacific Championships in New Zealand. Team manager Curtis Ma says, with major sporting teams securing spots at the Olympics, it has given them a challenge to do better.
We've taken cue from the men's rugby team, the women's rugby team who've qualified for Rio. Our Rio is the World Championships next year in Christchurch, so it's for us to go out there now and try and achieve the goal that we set ourselves.
The bowlers were in high spirits as they flew out the country today. Women's captain Taribosa Kalim says the competition will determine where they stand in the world rankings.
We are going out there ready. We felt that we are better prepared this time than any other time.
The tournament is important because it serves as a qualifier for the 2016 World Championships to be played at the same venue. The Asia Pacific Championship starts on the 24th of November and run through to the 6th of December. Josephine Navula, FBC Sports.
1,540 athletes will compete in the Fiji Primary School's Chow Games in Suva this week. Major sponsor Flour Mills of Fiji Limited handed over a $70,000 check to organizers for the 2-day competition, which gets underway on Thursday. The athletes will be representing 20 districts from around the country in 1,805 individual and group events.
We've been sponsoring this event for about 7 years now.
But today, I guess, I'm glad to see a lot of sponsors on board to support the primary school athletics for 2015. And I believe this year's game, with all the sponsors, it should be bigger and better.
The Child Games begin on Thursday at the ANZ Stadium. That is your sports for this evening. It's back to Jackie now with business.
Fiji Airways has announced it will be making adjustments to its direct services from Suva to Auckland and Sydney. From April 2016, the airline will introduce a third service between Auckland and Suva, operating on Wednesdays, in addition to the Monday and Friday services. In a further change, the Suva-Sydney and Sydney-Suva flights will operate on Fridays only. Fiji Airways Managing Director Andre Filyun says these adjustments are necessary for them to optimize their aircraft resources. Aside from some cloudiness and few early showers around Suva and Savu-Savu, it was a warm, sunny day across the nation. Mombasa and Bar topped the temperatures at 33 degrees. Suva and Savu-Savu were coolest at 29. Tomorrow will show a change in the weather. It will continue to be warm, but we can expect some rain moving in during the day, with rain expected late in the day in the east and a chance of showers to provide a little relief from the dry conditions in the west. And the further outlook is for Thursday, it will be warm with a chance of showers almost everywhere across the nation. At sea, easterly winds to 25 knots and moderate seas. And recapping tonight's main stories, the Fiji Police Force has confirmed an increase in robberies around the country. Budget debates continued in Parliament today, and Fiji is still unhappy with Australia and New Zealand's inclusion in the Pacific Islands Forum Secretariat. To our poll question for this week, we are asking, can the Fijiana rugby team win gold at the Rio Olympics? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. You've been watching FBC News. I'm Jackie Spade. Bye for now.
Daw binakabiyon na ba ang mga Bula FM. Niron daw bingkarabyo, Ben Hilo po, Viro Roodo. Yan Bula FM, naman doon na sir.
Yung Bula bina, ang mga peli, untuk talitin na parang Bula FM na po.
Ang nambantuan din nga ng Bula FM na usur. Bula FM, nambantuan sir.
Bula siya, puni ba ulambasa, nada ko Vila Merikibi, Bula FM, nambantuan sir, talita itu nga lambas.
Bula FM, nambantuan sir.